All right, so as we're getting to this point here on this deck, this is like where we're doing our final confirmations. We're checking everything for straightness and squareness. And we have a couple reference boards up here that are nice and squared. And then we're dragging this edge of the deck through, and we're gonna triple check that. And then from there, we can pull our layout, right? And we'll add in between these ones, like that's a pretty long run over there. So we'll do maybe like whatever layout's closest to each post. And we'll do those ones first, and we'll shove this beam, because it might be doing this a little bit. And we'll shove that beam in or out dimensionally to keep it straight. And then you can see that we have it braced both directions. That's because these are all good to go this way. They might need to come in and out a little bit this way, right? So our next move right now is to hang this across to where our dimensions say it's supposed to be. And then we're gonna string line that edge coming through just to make sure it's straight. I'd rather have it nice and straight and a tiny bit out of square than to force it square out here and be wobbly or bowed right here in the middle, right? So that's what we're looking for. And we found that end from hooking the wall and then lasering up to it. And then over here, you can actually see our reference marks. So I went this reference mark here, and then I measured to the back of this beam. Because again, that's dimensional. This ledger is dimensional. The concrete's off a little bit, right? So the house got built a little bit off kilter from the concrete, so we can't just measure from that. But the house is square to itself, right? So dimensionally, we pulled from here, which was the ledger. Well, I pulled from here to the back of the ledger, 1.5 inches. And then from there to the back side of this beam before we had this on here. We went out here, did the same thing, hooked the beam, because this is level, right? And it's dimensional to the house. We triple checked it prior to. So we hooked the beam, pulled out this way, and dropped it down. And then we snapped that line through. And you can see it still, our chalk line. It wobbled here when we snapped, but it was a snap. So we pulled back through, and we knew that it was the inside line, right? So that's going through. So now right here where we have it locked in, this one's plumb this way, right? And I know I say level a lot, but sometimes I mean plumb. That's just me and my terminology. You know, it's still level vertically, right? Plumb. Anyways, then this side's locked in right here. And this beam wasn't quite long enough. So what I had to do is I had to cheat these over that way to make this square, and then I can pad this out. And I know that's a short hanger. I know that. It's gonna be fine. I'm gonna, one, I got these doubled up. They sent the wrong hangers. I got these doubled up, but I'm still also adding another one right here, and this one will be full height, full bearing. And these two are really just to help hold a little bit of bearing, and I can put like an A35 or something right here to keep it from rolling, right? This way. Plus the pressure will be held on the 2x10 hanger on this side. So I know that for everybody that was gonna point that out. Here, we're allowed to go one size down. So if you see, they sent these. This is a 2x10 deck. And these are 2x8 hangers, and we're allowed to be one size under. But for some reason, when they sent us our concealed flange hangers, they sent us 2x6. But again, I'm adding one here, another joist here. It's gonna be fine, and it'll have the 2x10 hanger, and it'll be totally fine. It'll hold pressure. Plus these two will hold pressure, and it's gonna be overkill. And the reason I'm stiffening this up is because there's another piece of the deck that's gonna hang off of here. So I want a double or a tripler joist so I can hang off of this, and then these can come this way for this little section. And then we're gonna add a footing here because this deck got changed a little bit from the original drawings. So they're gonna add a footing here, and that's gonna hold the pressure right here where this side's hanging from, right? And then these joists are running this way to do a 4-foot wide walkway going around to the front of the house, right? And then on that side of this, the joists are going to go this way, right? So that's the general principle of how we found our post brackets. And then what we did to find our post heights was, once we set our brackets, we just used our laser right across here and measured down from the top of that, minus the thickness of our beam, the thickness of our ledger, and the standout of our laser. And again, people pick you apart for your terminology. Some people call it standoff. I don't really care, as long as the people I'm working with meant what I knew, if that makes sense to you, right? So far, this was like an hour or two of work yesterday, and it's currently right about lunchtime right now, and that's what we were able to get. But again, we go slow to start our decks, and then once all of our outside dimensions and everything are locked in, then we have multiple reference points that we can pull from, that no matter what, we're going to be square, true to dimension, and straight, right? So that's how we're going about it, and it's going to go super quick. And we're going to have 90% of this deck is going to be totally framed. And this is a 896 square feet deck. Again, then there's another landing that's being added here for stairs that come down here, right? Obviously, we don't have footings for that yet, so we're not worried about that part of the framing, but we are doing our prep. So same thing. This side's going to get a doubler, and that allows us to hang off, right? It also stiffens up our connection here, because they don't make boards long enough to go across here, right? So that's a 16-footer and then a 12-footer. But that's where we're at so far. Thanks for watching.